Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to Day 8, another episode of albums that are 50 years old in 2021. So these are albums that were released in that magical year of 1971, one of the greatest ever years in the history of rock and roll as far as so an amazing amount of legendary albums. So if you're tuning into this series, I should say, for the first time, basically what we're doing here is I've gone through that entire list of releases from 71, those albums that are turning 50 this year. I picked out my 28 favorites, 28 albums, 28 days of the month of February. Every day I'm going to give you another one of my picks. They're not in any specific order, just kind of random, my favorite 28. Also on each episode, I have been revealing an honorable mention. This is an album that is pulled from the larger list, right? Didn't quite make the cut of 28, but albums that I love quite a bit, right? And what I'm asking everybody is, after I reveal my pick and my honorable mention, for you to do the same each and every day as we get through the month of February, all 28 days. So today we're going to take a look at an album that I really love. It's easily my favorite album from this band. It was released in November of 1971. Recorded in Island Studios in London, released on Island Records everywhere but Canada, and Canada was on Polydor, produced by none other than their singer, songwriter, guitarist, keyboard player Steve Winwood. I'm talking about the Low Spark of High Heel Boys from Traffic. All right, an amazing, amazing album that... God, what do you call this? What do you call Traffic, right? They're one of these bands that kind of incorporated a lot of different styles and elements and flavors to their music. You know, a little bits of jazz, a little bits of blues, certainly some psychedelia, certainly some folk, right? Occasionally some hard rock, maybe even bits of progressive rock. It's a kind of this style that just kind of like defied categorization, but was always pretty enchanting. Steve Winwood, of course, on vocals and all sorts of instruments, right? You got Jim Capaldi on vocals here, as well as a little bit of percussion. You got Chris Wood on saxophone and flute. You got Rick Gretsch on bass, a little bit of violin. Jim Gordon on drums. And joining the band for this period in their history is, of course, the percussionist Rebop Kwakuba. Okay? And a real intriguing, enjoyable album that, you know, many people remember for the lengthy 12-minute title track, which is probably one of the longest songs ever to be played fairly regularly on classic rock radio. You knew when, you heard that opening kind of sound effects there, the organ, and then, dum, 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 dum. You knew you were in for the long ride, right? You knew it was the Low Spark of High Heel Boys. That atmospheric, kind of jazzy, really intriguing song that, most of us know and love really well. But there's more on here, okay? It starts off with Hidden Treasure. Really, really cool piece. After Low Spark, number 2 track, you've got Rock and Roll Stew. Good, bluesy hard rocker, right? Then you got the enchanting Many a Mile to Freedom with a great Winwood vocal. Then, of course, the hard rocker Light Up or Leave Me Alone. Down, 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 da boom, 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 boom. Sometimes I feel like running away. Great song. Good rocker. Rock and Roll Stew and Light Up or Leave Me Alone are the two more rock pieces on the album. And then, of course, it ends with the mini epic, The Real Mysterious Rainmaker. Okay, the great thing about a lot of these Traffic albums, especially the latter period ones, not a lot of songs. They had no issue with 5, 7, 8, 9 minute long songs, and they had no issue with kind of mixing it up and not giving you a full album's worth of the same type of style, the same type of music. They had all the couple different singers in the band, right, which was really good. You had your little bit of jazz, a little bit of rock, a little bit of blues, folk, that sort of thing that kind of combined it all, which I think was really neat. And for me, it's kind of charming as those really early, more psychedelic albums are. I mean, I love the way this band kind of moved away from that. And, maybe it was, once Dave Mason left, they kind of really found their style. But their latter period albums, to me, are just totally out there as far as like experimenting with different things and really just creating music that just grabs you and you never forget these melodies, you never forget these songs, and it's just a great band that so many of us love for all those reasons and more. So that is my pick for today, day 8 here. How about my honorable mention? Okay, also released in 1971, a great U.S. My pick was a British band. My honorable mention is a U.S. band, kind of a super group, pretty much. My hair is doing all sorts of funkoid things today. Well, there we go. Cactus, One Way or Another. Okay. Carmine Apiece on drums. Tim Bogert, the late Tim Bogert, just left us on bass. Rusty Day on vocals, and of course the amazing Jim McCarty on guitars. Often tabbed as America's answer to Led Zeppelin. I never kind of agreed with that term. They were a totally different beast. They were more of kind of like a, bluesy, boogie, hard rock band, right? They didn't have all the facets that Led Zeppelin did, but, as a impressive 4-piece making at times thunderous bluesy music, I guess I could see why they called them that. But Cactus were totally other beast. Cactus were, notorious for being a hard driving party animal band, and their music was just totally fun. I mean, here you got their version of Long Tall Sally. You got Rock Out Whatever You Feel Like. You got the incomparable Rock and Roll Children. Great song. You got Big Mama Boogie Parts 1 and 2. You got Feel So Bad. Great vocal from Rusty Day on that heavy song. You got Song for Aries, Hometown Bust, and then my favorite Cactus song of all time, the title track, One Way or Another, which has some absolutely searing guitars from Jim McCarty. Great vocal, headbanging song. Just a relentless track. When these guys wanted to get down and deliver some crunchy hard rock and proto metal, they were great at it. And Carmine's thunderous bass, Tim's amazing. I mean, Carmine's thunderous drums, Tim's amazing bass. Just this whole band, just really talented dudes. And it's just a shame, they weren't together as a band for that long, right? This is one of those bands that kind of hit the scene, made an impact, but flamed out pretty quickly. All right, so Cactus, One Way or Another is my honorable mention today. But of course, my main pick of the day is the Low Spark of High Heel Boys from the legendary Traffic, Steve Winwood and Company. So again, in the comments below, everybody list your pick of the day. Okay, hopefully everybody's put together your list of 28 for the month of February. Each day list another one of them, and list that honorable mention, which comes from your larger list, right? The ones that didn't quite make the cut. It's funny, it was interesting how yesterday, a lot of folks said yesterday I picked Yes, the Yes album, and David Bowie's Hunky Dory was my honorable mention. And so many people are like, Pete, I can't believe that it's only an honorable mention. It's not in your top 28 of the year. And it's like, well, that just goes to show you how great this year was in 1971. That an album as great as Hunky Dory is relegated to the, post 28, the honorable mentions. It's still great, right? I'm still talking about it on the show, but I just happen to like 28 more. I mean, this was tough. I mean, my overall list was well over, 100, I think, when I first put it together. So I had to whittle it down to 28 that were going to be my main ones, and then another 28 honorable mentions. So that left a lot that I had to kind of push to the side. So a great year. Like I said, arguably the greatest year ever in the history of rock and roll. All right, so there you have it, everybody. So stay tuned tomorrow for another episode, right? Day 9 coming up tomorrow morning, bright and early for you. Don't forget, tonight we are live. The Hudson Valley Squares are going to be live tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So set your calendars, tune in live. The chat room will be open. We will have a main topic or theme of the show, which is some of our favorite guest star appearances on albums and songs. But feel free to join in the chat, discuss amongst each other, as well as ask some of us some questions about some of our favorite guest stars and things like that. So that's coming up tonight, live here on Sea of Tranquility. We'll see you all then. We've got other stuff happening all this week, right? Lots of good stuff. Martin Popoff and I are going to do part 2 of our show on perfect albums. That's coming up Friday morning. We've got Jason Morris, one of our loyal viewers, joining us for Viewer Appreciation Day. We're going to rank the albums of German power metal veterans Edguy. That's happening later this week as well. And I've got a really special interview coming up tomorrow night that I will be announcing tonight live on the Hudson Valley Square. So stay tuned for that. And a lot more happening this week. Also coming up on Sunday, Rich Catino, Sidney Taylor, and I will be ranking our 10 favorite albums from Swedish guitar sensation Yngwie Malmsteen. So that's happening on Sunday morning. So stay tuned for that. Also Thursday night, another edition of the Monsters Den. Rich Catino, Chris Allo, and myself will be talking some of our favorite serial killer thrillers. So that's happening on Thursday night. So stay tuned for that as well. So all that and more happening this week. So make sure you subscribed. Make sure you tell your friends. If you like what you see, please consider donating to the channel via the Ko-Fi link below. And check out the merch. We've got a lot of brand new shirts. We've got a new Monsters Den shirt. We've got Hudson Valley Square shirts. We've got regular SOT shirts, all different sizes and styles and things. So all that helps support the channel. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.